Hello friends, today our topic is mesothelioma and asbestos law firms. So let's start. Mesothelioma is a deadly form of cancer that is almost always caused by exposure to asbestos. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, it's important to know that you have legal options. There are many law firms that specialize in asbestos and mesothelioma cases, and these firms can help you get the compensation you deserve. What is mesothelioma? Mesothelioma is a rare and aggressive cancer that develops in the lining of the lungs, abdomen, or heart. Although mesothelioma is most often linked to asbestos exposure, there are other potential causes. Mesothelioma symptoms can take years to develop, and the disease is often not diagnosed until it has progressed to an advanced stage. There is no cure for mesothelioma, but treatment options are available to manage symptoms and prolong life. If you have been exposed to asbestos and have developed mesothelioma, you may be eligible for compensation. An experienced mesothelioma lawyer can help you understand your legal options and maximize your chances of receiving compensations. What are the symptoms of mesothelioma? The most common symptoms of mesothelioma include number 1, shortness of breath, number 2, chest pain, number 3, persistent cough, number 4, weight loss, number 5, fatigue. If you or a loved one have been exposed to asbestos and are experiencing any of these symptoms, it's important to see a doctor right away and get tested for mesothelioma. Early diagnosis is critical for treatment and survival. How is mesothelioma diagnosed? Mesothelioma is a rare form of cancer that develops in the thin lining of tissue that covers many of the internal organs of the body. It is most commonly diagnosed in the lining of the lungs, but can also occur in the lining of the abdomen or heart. Mesothelioma is caused by exposure to asbestos, a natural mineral fiber that was once widely used in many industries. There is no one definitive test for mesothelioma, but doctors will often use a combination of imaging tests, biopsies, and other diagnostic tools to make a diagnosis. Imaging tests such as X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs can help to reveal tumors in the chest or abdomen. Biopsies involve taking a sample of tissue from the affected area to be examined under a microscope. Other diagnostic tests such as blood work and lung function tests may also be ordered. If you have been exposed to asbestos and are experiencing symptoms such as shortness of breath, chest pain, or fatigue, it is important to see your doctor for evaluation. If mesothelioma is suspected, your doctor will refer you to a specialist for further testing and treatment. Who is at risk for developing mesothelioma? Mesothelioma is an aggressive and deadly form of cancer that affects the thin lining of tissue that covers many of the body's internal organs, known as the mesothelium. This cancer is most often caused by exposure to asbestos fibers, which can enter the body through inhalation or ingestion. While anyone can be exposed to asbestos, there are certain groups of people who are at a high risk for developing mesothelioma. These include number 1, people who work in jobs where they are exposed to asbestos on a regular basis, such as construction workers, shipyard workers, and insulation workers. Number 2, people who live or work in close proximity to asbestos mines or factories. Number 3, people with family members who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma. If you fall into any of these high-risk groups, it is important to be aware of the symptoms of mesothelioma and to see a doctor if you experience any of them. Early diagnosis is key to successful treatment of these diseases. How can you prevent mesothelioma? There is no certain way to prevent mesothelioma as there is no cure. However, there are some things you can do to lower your risk of developing the disease. Avoiding exposure to asbestos is the best way to prevent mesothelioma. If you must be exposed to asbestos, take precautions to avoid inhaling the fibers. Wear a respirator and protective clothing and wet down the area before starting work. If you have been exposed to asbestos, be sure to tell your doctor so they can monitor your health closely. There is no routine screening test for mesothelioma, so early detection is important. What are the treatment options for mesothelioma? There are four main types of treatment for mesothelioma: surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and targeted therapy. Surgery is the most common type of treatment and is usually followed by radiation therapy and or chemotherapy. Targeted therapy is a newer type of treatment that is showing promise in clinical trials. The best treatment option for you will depend on the stage of your cancer, your overall health, and your preferences. It's important to work with a team of mesothelioma specialists who can tailor a treatment plan to meet your specific needs. If you have mesothelioma, you may be eligible for compensation from asbestos. Trust funds are the companies responsible for your exposure. A mesothelioma lawyer can help you understand your legal options and get the compensation you deserve. What are the prognosis and life expectancy for someone with mesothelioma? The prognosis and life expectancy for someone with mesothelioma can vary greatly depending on the stage of the disease, the type of mesothelioma, and the overall health of the patient. In general, however, mesothelioma is a very aggressive form of cancer with a very poor prognosis. The average life expectancy for someone with mesothelioma is just 12 months. However, some patients may live for several years with proper treatment. So that is our today topic. Thank you.